We gave up alcohol for 30 days, and what happened next was shocking. Maybe you've heard of dry January, dryuary, sober October, whatever you want to call it. It is gaining momentum across the world where folks are deciding to take a distinct 30-day or longer break from alcohol. When I did a little bit of research online, I discovered that over 85% of people aged 18 and over have consumed alcohol at some point in their life, and about 63 of those people consider themselves regular-ish or occasional drinkers, with only about 30% of people reporting as total abstainers. And so with all the festivities and holidays that come between Halloween all the way through the end of the year and New Year's Eve, a lot of people have been taking the opportunity to go alcohol-free during January. And so my husband and I, because we were focused on being our healthiest in 2023, decided to try it for ourselves as well. And what happened next was pretty shocking. What we found out is that if you decide to make a change like this, you are very likely going to be met with people questioning you on whether or not you have a problem. Are you an alcoholic? What's wrong? Why aren't you drinking? And I was really startled by that because I thought, nowhere else in our lives do we have to justify a product that we consume. Like, if I want to have ice cream or I don't want to have ice cream, people aren't asking me if I'm an ice creamaholic. And if I go on a diet and want to lose some weight, nobody is giving me a hard time about wanting to eat healthier for a period of time. But when you experiment with not drinking, it seems to really raise a lot of red flags for people. And I think more than anything, makes them question their own relationship with alcohol, which probably is kind of uncomfortable. In fact, over the pandemic, if I were to tally all the conversations with my friends, I would say that more times than not, I heard people share with me that they began drinking more during the pandemic and it really never backed off. And that they thought, well, maybe they should drink less, or they'd really like to drink less, but it kind of just become a habit. So I was pretty shocked at the fact that so many people had such a strong reaction to us not drinking for the next 30 days. Now, my husband and I read this book in order to do this experiment called The Naked Mind. I'll put it up here for you to see the cover and I'll link it below. I highly suggest this book. It really opened my eyes to just why people drink, why it becomes such a mindless habit, and why we have a lot of beliefs around alcohol that continue on in spite of information that contradicts those exact beliefs. So a lot of people will tell you about all the health benefits of alcohol, but they never really discuss the negatives unless somebody is, lying in a gutter drunk and loses their job and they don't have anywhere to live. So this book was really, really powerful in kind of uncovering why we have those beliefs and why people cling to drinking even when it stops serving them. And that was really kind of what my husband and I noticed. It had become more of a mindless habit for us than anything in our life. We'd come home, we'd start cooking dinner, we'd crack a bottle of wine, we'd have a glass of wine while we cook, we'd have a glass of wine with dinner, and we weren't really thinking about it, and it was happening more frequently than I honestly wanted it to happen. So when we started to think about giving up and doing this 30-day break, we wondered, well, what will it really be like? What will we fill our time with? How much better will we feel? Or will we notice no differences at all? So in the very beginning, the first week was probably the most challenging.
Day 4. It's about 4 o'clock and I feel kind of tired, headachy, and just a little bit down. So I wonder what that's all about.
One of the reasons that people continue to drink out of habit or kind of mindlessly is because alcohol triggers dopamine in your brain. And dopamine is the learning neurotransmitter. A lot of people say it's the pleasure neurotransmitter, but it's more about seeking pleasure than actually receiving the pleasure. And so it is what, cavemen would have a surge of dopamine when they saw a berry bush because they knew that they were about to get the sugar. And it was a learning mechanism for the brain so that the brain would help you to go find more of those berries the next day. So what happens with alcohol is that we learn to associate fun and relaxation and good feelings with alcohol. So when our brain doesn't receive that and it's looking for it, you're not getting that dopamine release. So we really noticed that we kind of felt like sluggish in the middle of the afternoon. I craved more sugar because I wasn't having that glass of wine that was going to have the sugar in it. And I was just kind of tired because my brain wasn't getting that rush of dopamine that it was expecting at that specific time of day. Now, that all passed within a few days, and within the next few days, what was really amazing to me was just how much the quality of my sleep improved so quickly.
So today is day 10, and I gotta tell you, I feel amazing. I've rode the bike, I've already done some work on my business, I've homeschooled my kids, and I'm about to walk the dog, and it's not even lunchtime yet. So it has me thinking like, I kind of almost wonder why I ever drank in the first place, because it just kind of made me tired and a little bit bored. Well, we'll see how the next 21 days go.
Now, I thought that because I'm a mom of 2 kids, I homeschool, I run a business, that being tired was kind of just part of the life. But what I realized was I started to get such a better quality of sleep almost within the first couple of days. And I was waking up feeling far more rested, having far more energy, far stronger at the gym. It's like I felt like I was 20 something again instead of 40 something.
Okay, so 3 weeks in, and what am I noticing? Well, 1, sleep. Wow. I've always had a hard time going to sleep. I've used melatonin in the past. It's been a whole thing my whole life. And now what I'm finding is I am just reading for a little bit before bed and then drifting off to sleep, no problem. I'm having so many dreams. It's awesome. And I find that I wake up earlier with more energy, so I've been way more productive. In fact, I was able to launch an entire workshop this weekend that I probably would have never even had time to put together and add thousands to the bottom line of the business just because I had more time and energy in the morning. So that's been a really incredible thing. The second thing I've noticed is, come on, look at my skin. I don't know about you, but my skin has gotten so much brighter, and wrinkles that I had have almost completely disappeared. Who would have thought I could give up my collagen supplements and just have more collagen in my skin by not enjoying that glass of wine at night? It's been a crazy, crazy thing. So those things have been super noticeable, and we've actually found some really fun non-alcoholic alternatives that we've enjoyed. So I'll share those with you later on in the video. If you're thinking of trying this experiment for yourself, I'll give you the full rundown when we get to 4 weeks, but definitely sleep, energy, productivity, feel like I can do more at the gym, and the skin has been the main thing. Haven't lost a lot of weight yet, probably because I've been letting myself indulge in ice cream. But I do feel like I'm kind of aging in reverse, like Benjamin Button. Maybe call me Benjamina? No, don't call me Benjamina. Anyways.
Now, within a couple weeks, I also noticed my skin improving. And this is probably due to the fact that I always drink a lot of water, but I wasn't drinking anything else that was dehydrating me. And so things where I was starting to get fine lines went away. My skin got brighter. My eyes got brighter. Everything became more hydrated, and everything started to look like I was aging in reverse. It sounds crazy, but it was really true. Also, I was noticing that my mood was better. Now, I've never really had an issue with being overly moody or depressed or having a ton of anxiety, But what I did realize was I just felt more even keeled. I was much more patient with my kids. We had some challenging things happening in our life this month, and I was able to deal with them while feeling very in control and clear-headed, which was not something that I thought alcohol was contributing to in my life, but obviously it definitely was putting me more on edge just because of that natural cycle of when it's leaving your body and leaving your system, you actually are feeling the results of the alcohol leaving, and it does bring your mood down. Now, my husband and I were worried about what happens when we go out to restaurants. Like, are we just gonna have to sit there and drink tap water, or are we just gonna have a glass of tap water with our dinner? So we actually found that there are so many fun alternatives that we could drink. Lots of amazing non-alcoholic beers that are out there now that taste almost as good as the real thing. I really wasn't very much a fan of the non-alcoholic wines because most of them just tasted like sweet grape juice. But we really got into Italian bitter sodas. If you are interested in that, go ahead, leave me a comment below, and I'll do a whole nother video just on the best non-alcoholic drinks that we discovered during this month. We started mixing really interesting bitter Italian sodas with other mixers and in unique and fun ways to just make really, really fun, interesting mocktails, which honestly tasted better to me than a lot of the mixed drinks that are out there. Now, there were a couple things that surprised us about this experiment.
So what's one thing you thought was going to happen that you were kind of surprised didn't happen during the 30 days?
I thought it was going to be more difficult.
Yeah.
For sure. And it just seemed to be easier than I had anticipated. So maybe that's just I built it up in my mind to some degree, or maybe it was just easy for me.
Yeah, I actually did think it was going to be more difficult just because it was such a part of our habit and our lifestyle. The only thing that I was really surprised about that was pretty upsetting to me is that I thought I was going to lose a bunch of weight. Like, I thought all these people were saying, hey, you're cutting all these calories, you're going to drop like 10 pounds in the first month, but instead I just wanted to eat ice cream all the time.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things that surprised me is that as the 30 days continued to go on, I realized I really didn't miss the alcohol. And that to me made me realize that this was such a mindless habit that had just become part of our life that wasn't serving us. And we decided that we would start putting money in a jar to see just how much we were mindlessly spending each and every single month on alcohol. So we like to drink wine typically, and so we figured, a bottle of wine, $20, put that in the jar. If we were to go out to a restaurant that night, it would be like a $40 bottle of wine, put that in the jar, and oh my word, it was shocking. At the end of the month, we had $705 in that jar. That is money that would have just been mindlessly spent and consumed. Imagine that. That is over $7,000 a year. We can take a phenomenal vacation with that kind of money. So at this point, what I've realized is I probably really don't have any desire to go back to the way that we were in the past with kind of our mindless habit. I mean, maybe from time to time, if I'm at a special occasion or out at an event, I might have a glass of wine, but I've really lost the desire to just crack that bottle of wine while I'm cooking dinner out of habit. And if you're somebody who's thinking, hey, I'd love to try a dry-uary or a dry February or a no booze March, whatever you want to call it, but you're wondering, like, how do I change my mindset around it because it's just become such a habit of yours, or it's become something that you use to deal with stress or to handle life's challenges, then I really highly suggest go ahead, check out this book, The Naked Mind. It is going to completely change your mindset and really make it almost effortless in order to give up the things that aren't serving you. So if you've made it this far into the video, which I know most people won't, I'm going to share with you something that became even more deeply personal during these 30 days that had nothing to do with giving up alcohol, but everything to do with the mindless habits that I think we all engage in our lives. So as I went through this experiment and I realized that giving up something that wasn't serving me became so easy when I changed my mindset around why I was doing it in the first place. And it really started to make me think, where are the other areas in life that I'm doing things just out of habit, mindlessly, that aren't serving me as well? Like hitting the snooze button in the morning, eating the things that I know aren't good for me, but are just in the house, not going to the gym as often as I would like to be because I make excuses for all the other things that I'm doing. Constantly walking around with this phone and checking it. It's like, it again is just another habit or addiction that is mindless and is taking away from being fully present in life. And I started to think about what areas of my business have just continued to pile on each other over the last 5 years, and things that I might be doing in my business that either are no longer necessary or are not serving me or don't need to be done by me, could be outsourced. Where can I put the focus and attention that is really going to create the business, the life, and create the ultimate happiness inside that I desire? And so if you're listening to this, maybe you're questioning that for yourself. And even if you're not thinking about giving up alcohol, a book like The Naked Mind really did open up my mind to where are there areas in my life where I'm doing things that aren't serving me, but they've just become habits. And where can I become more mindful and intentional to change those things going forward? I've spent a lot of time with that over the last 30 days, and I really feel like I emerged at the other side, a completely different person who has the skills, the mindset, and the desire now to be more intentional with my life, with my family, with my health, and with my time. So if you made it this far into all my ramblings at the end of the video, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching the channel. I hope the video on what happened when we gave up alcohol for 30 days was valuable for you. And let me know if you are going to try it for yourself or if you've done your own 30-day experiment and how it went. I'll see you in the next video.